Hello friends, welcome back. So in the previous video we have done everything required till now to call our API. What we have done is we have created our view model and we have used the data use case class. We have seen that how we can inject anything to our view model using HILT, and how we can use that view model using a extension property provided by Kotlin. So this property. So now we have also called the API, but we have got this exception. So even when we have added the internet permission over here, still we are getting this exception. So let's try this once more. So this will get this exception again. So even we have added the internet permission, but this is actually a general error, or you can say issue. So where even if you have added the permission, so it will then also give you error. What you need to do is, all you need to do is to just uninstall your application once from your emulator, clear the locat and just rerun your application. So this time it will not give you any such error. So like here you can see that now our API got uh, the result successfully. We got the result over here. So we have filtered it with OKHTTP, so it will only show the result based on our for our APIs, for the APIs we have called using our retrofit. So here you can see that we have called this API of type get, and there are no parameters to it. So it will not include any parameters, but it will include some basic headers, so like this. So the other thing is, here you can see that it has finally returned the result. So the result is far bigger, but it has still printed all the result for us like this. So this is the result, and it has to cut down some of the result because it is way bigger than a normal API should return. So in this case you can see that how you can easily debug your APIs and how you can see the result of your APIs without actually drawing a UI. So now we have done till calling our API and getting the result from that API. So in this video we'll be focusing on creating our list. So we'll not be using the simple or the, you can say, the recycler view dot view adapter class or anything. So here we'll be using a new thing provided by Kotlin, so provided in Kotlin actually in the latest SDK versions. So that is the list adapter. So it is very efficient and actually very good implementation of for things like recycler views. So it reduces the memory overheads and also the time it requires to check every item, because sometimes when our data classes change or our data in the list actually changes, so what we need to do is we need to provide our recycler view adapters the whole list again and call the notify data set change method, and what it will do is it will automatically clear the previous list and provide it with a new list and redraws all the views. So it just take us, you can say, split second or some milliseconds, but still it is consuming your memory and CPU a lot. So what we'll do is we'll use the new way of creating our recycler view adapters. So let's get started. So first of all, close everything from here. So now go to your UI package and create a new package over here inside the main, that is the adapter package. Which will contain our recycler views adapter. Okay, so before creating this adapter, what we need to do is we'll have to use the diff utils class. So basically what that is, it is a class provided in our SDK which will help us to implement, you can say, to recognize that differences between two lists passed to it. Basically, let me show you this with an example. So just open our data class which will require to where we require to check that list. So now what we'll do is we'll provide a list similar to this is a array list, so we'll provide uh, this list directly to a view model. So but we need to create a new class over here. You can create a separate class, so let's create a separate class actually. This class will be our diffutils class, so let's name it as diff sorry firstly we'll copy the name of our model class, inner model class, because the class which will actually act as a list, the type of the list item. Okay, so here this is the type of the list item, so just copy this name. So you can use any name, but I am just using this name so that when there would be more than one data class, so it should never be duplicated. So let's name it as diff util and then paste this name in front of that. You can use any name, I am again telling you I'm using this name, but you can use any name. Okay, so this will be of type class like this. So this will actually extend diffutil dot item callback. Okay, so now here we have to define our model class. So in this case this is our model class, it is giving us error to import, so it has imported it. So still we are getting a number of errors. So one such error is that we should actually create the instance of this. We'll actually have to provide empty constructor. So now this is giving us error to implement some of the methods provided. So basically just alt enter over here, click on implement members and select both of these using Ctrl A and press OK. So it will automatically implement these methods for us. Now we'll need to define our logic inside these. So here you can see that the return type of both of these methods are boolean. Okay, so what these methods are: so whenever this diffutil class is provided by a list, so it will check the previous list and the new list, and it will compare every item, like here's the old item, here's the new item, that if these items are same or new. Okay, so let's say we have a list of containing 20 items and we provide another list of 20 items. So how it will differentiate between them, those lists, like let's say that the first item of those lists are same, the second is also same, but the third item varies. So now it will check for first item, then second, and at the third step it will see that both of these items are not actually matching. Okay, so now it will only update our recycler views third item, not first, second, or any other item. Okay, so this way it is working, and it will only redraw that view, so we don't need to manually notify that which specific item is changed, or we even don't need to tell it to completely redraw all the items using the new list provided. So if the new list is actually having all the items different than the previous list, then it will draw all the items. Otherwise it will draw only those items which are not the same. So to define that, we need to provide it with a logic over here to differentiate between these items. So now these are two functions: are items the same and are content the same. Are items the same, inside this function we can use a specific unique key of our data model class. So in this case we can, if we have to see if there is any unique key. So like here we know that this id can be unique, or in the real world scenario when you will be having your data from your API, there can be a user id. Okay, so we know that no two user IDs are similar, so these IDs are actually for that purpose, to differentiate between two things or two objects, to check if they are same or not, because IDs are always unique. So let's so what we will do is we will have to return a type boolean. So let's type return over here, and now we will do that check. So let's type new item, which means this dot id equal to old item, which means this item dot id. So what this will do is this will return true if both of these IDs are true, or it will return false if these IDs are false. Okay, so let's say the first item of both lists are having the same ID, so it will return true. Now it will need to once any of these function return true, it will need to check second function. Like in this case, if it returns true, so it will then check this function. So our contents the same, will check the whole content of the item. So in this you can simply return like new item, sorry, return new item equal to old item. Okay, so it will compare both of these at object levels. Okay, so if these objects are same or not, here we are comparing with values. So now if these items are different, it will return and tell our list that these items are different, so just redraw them. So this is all about our creating our diffutil class and how it works. So now we'll be actually creating the adapter class using the list adapter. So let's create a new class over here. So let's name it as repositories adapter. Okay, so this will be a class, and this will actually extend list adapter. So there are two list adapters. One is provided by Android.widget package, and other one is provided by recycler view itself. So we'll use this recycler view one, and you can see that we have to define two types over here. Okay, so the first one is the data class, and the second one is the view holder class. So now just press all enter, and we'll have to define our data class, which we have defined in our diffutil also. So this will be our data class. So just copy this and paste it over here, press alt enter and import this class. And now after comma we need to define our view holder. So we haven't created the view holder class yet, so let it be empty as of now. And then it have a constructor, and inside this constructor what we need to do is we need to tell that what is our diffutil class. So we'll just copy the name of the diffutil class, we'll paste it inside it, and as we will import it. And then this is a, we know that this is a class, so we'll be using this empty constructor. So the error will be gone now, like this. Okay, so now we only left with this view holder type. So now just we'll implement everything over here, but first we need to create a separate class for view holder. You can always create this view holder, and you should actually create this class in a separate file, but in our case we are creating this inside this. No, let's create it as a separate file only, so it shouldn't confuse us. So let's create a file named repositories view holder. This will be a simple view holder class, as we do create in our previous recycler view adapters. So this will extend view holder from our recycler view like this. And we know that it accepts a view type in its constructor. So just alt enter over here, and it will give you a suggestion to add that constructor with type view. So just enter it over here, so it will automatically do everything for us. So now we can use this view holder class. Here we can define the type over here like this, so the error will be gone. Now this is showing us some error because when this is a abstract class, so it have some methods which we need to override. So just take your mouse over here and press alt enter, and you can see the suggestion to implement members. So press here. So these are the two functions we need to implement. So press alt A and then click on OK. So it will automatically override these functions for us. And now we need to define these functions here. So this is our own create view holder function, which I hope you know what these both functions are. Like these are the functions from the old recycler view itself, so these are nothing new. So in the on create view holder, what we need to do is we need to define our layout, and we'll return the view holder over here by providing it with the view that we actually need as a you can say the view of a list item. and in onBind view holder we actually get have to bind data to that particular view. Okay, so like we have three different views, three different list items, so in this function we bind the data to that view. So to provide it with some view, first we need to create a view. So let's create a view over here. So let's name it as list item repositories. Yeah, list item repositories, that is enough. So this is of type constraint layout, so we'll be keeping the width as match parent, but height will be wrap content. And now let's use a material card over here. You can use anything you want, I'm using a material card. So we need to define the bounds like start to start of parent, end to end of parent, top to top of parent, and bottom to bottom of parent. So this will tell to keep this widget with the same dimensions as of this constraint layout, or you can say the starting point, ending point, top and bottom point will be same as that of the parent. So now we'll be using use compat padding to be true, and elevation of this card to be like, let's say 5 dps. So what this will do is it will automatically add the padding at all the sides of card so that it can draw the shadow for this much elevation. So now we'll create another layout, let's say constraint layout inside this match parent wrap content, and here we will define our actual list items. So I'm just keeping it you can say keeping it a small layout so I will only keep the repository name and the description over here. I'll not be keeping the user description as of now, but in the final project, the source code in the description of the video, you can see the final layout. Okay, so here we will be creating a text view, match parent wrap content, and let's provide it with the ID text view, yeah, text view repo name, and let's specify it as start to start of parent, end to end of parent, top to top of parent, and we not specify the bottom because at the bottom there will be a different text view to for our description. So let's copy paste this, rename this as repo description like this, and the top to top will not be the property, but the property will be top to bottom of this layout, this text view actually. So it should stay at the bottom of this layout. Okay, so here you can see these both layouts. So I'll also enable the blueprint, so here you can see these both layouts enabled. This is the name, this is the text view for name, and this is the text view for description. So now we actually have a property, you can define tools over here. So it will give you error, alt enter, create namespace declaration, it will automatically define it over here. So now you can use text like I'm putting my name over here, no, let's put the name of this project, so let it be app name. Okay, so here tools text, so let it be lorem ipsum. So here we are using these tools, you can say the declaration of these tools, sorry, we are using this text with tools, not with Android as our standard. That we need to do here is like this, Android text. So here we can also define anything. So what are the differences between these two are, so basically in this case if we define anything over here, so at the runtime of the application this text view will show this text until unless we don't provide a if we don't specify a text programmatically to it, so it will keep showing us this text view. But in the design phase, when we need to test how our design will look, so we should not give these we should not use this namespace, but rather we should use this tools namespace. So what this will do is, if we define anything inside these tools, any property with these tools, so what it will do is it will remove this at our runtime. Okay, so it will only show this in the layout, in the, you can say, while developing over this part, in the XML part itself. So but in the runtime of the application, when your application is actually running on your real device, so it will remove this property and nothing will be shown over here until unless you don't provide any text programmatically. Like here you can define this text view dot set text equal to this and that, so it will only show that text in the text view, otherwise it will never show anything if you define this property. Okay, so this is the way we can see that how our UI will look while developing. So now we can see that there is no differentiation between both of these. So firstly we need to add some margin. Let's say margin would be of 10 dps, and also we will keep this text style as bold, and let it be the text size as 18 sp. So now we can actually see the difference between both of these. So we'll also define bottom to bottom of parent like this. So now we can see the actual difference. So yeah, but what we can't see right now is the actual padding. So it haven't inserted the padding. Oh, I have already defined this property over here, so it should insert some padding, but for some reason it haven't done so. So let's see if at runtime it does or not. So this is all about our layout. Okay, so now we will, yeah, so here in our adapter class we'll be using this layout. To do so, we'll define a new variable, let's say item view, and we'll be using layout inflator. So this layout inflator is actually used to inflate the layouts. So this will be from, and it is requesting a context. So to give a context, we'll be using this parent that is of type view group, and we'll get the context of this parent. So let's parent dot context, so we can get the context over here. And now we'll be using the inflate function. So it requires our resource type and a view group, but we'll be using this attached to root as false. So we'll be using this this function. The first one is the layout resource file that we created over here, the second one is the view group, that is this parent, and third one is attached to root, that will always be false. So let it be r dot layout dot our layout name is, it is giving us error because we haven't imported the R file. So just alt enter over here and then start typing over here list item repositories, and then the second parameter is view group, so we'll define it over here, and the third one is will be false. Okay, so now we got this layout inflated as a view over here. So now we know that we need to pass a view to our view holder class, and we'll also know that we need to return the instance of our view holder class over here. So we'll do that like this, return repositories view holder, and the parameter required is the type view, which we have inflated over here. So yeah, so you can see that our error is gone and we have successfully inflated our layout file and created the instance of our view holder. So now in the case, so if you are confused, like we haven't provided any list in the constructor to this adapter, then how it can get the list where we will be using to draw our layouts. So this is the actual magic of this list adapter. So it have a function, or you can say it automatically gives us a list. so that is named as current list. So let's see that how we can do that. So it also have a function of get item, where you can pass the position and you can get that uh, particular item at that position. To do that, you can simply use get item. You can see that it requests permission and it will return us the GitHub data model item, that particular model item at that position of that list. So you can use this position that we are getting over here, and you will simply get the item, basically that GitHub data model over here. So not the GitHub data model, actually this GitHub data model item, because we need to get the data from this only. So sorry, yeah, here. So because we have defined it over here, so it will automatically give us the item of type GitHub data model item from our list at that particular position we define here. So now we'll be using this holder instance of our view holder, and we'll be creating a function named bind, and we'll pass this item to that function. So we haven't created that function inside here, so it is giving us some error. So just click your mouse over here and press alt enter, and it will ask you to about some suggestions. So we'll be not creating abstract function, not extension function, not remaining sorry not even renaming it, but we are creating a member function. We are going to create a member function. So just click over here, it will automatically create the function with the type we have specified. So you can see that the type of this item will be this. So now we can directly use this items instance to actually provide our list items with the data. So in this text view repo name, where it is, yeah, here we can use that text view repo name using this item view, because this is the view. You can say this is this view, whole view. So we have to use this reference like this, item view dot sorry text view repo name and dot text equal to, so the text will be equal to this item dot name. So this is of type, this can be nullable, so we'll have to use null safety, item dot name. Okay, so the second thing is the item view dot text view description dot text equal to item dot description. Okay, so here you can see there are multiple things. You can use any of them as per your requirement, but in our case we are just showing the name of repository along with the description of repository. So till now what we have done is we have actually created our full-fledged adapter class itself. So you can see that how small this adapter class is. So using this list adapter, we need to just override these two methods, and we'll have to create this view holder, and our adapter class will actually be really slow sorry short, not slow, it would be really short and sweet, and no other functions, no such things like get item count or anything. It will automatically do that for us. So now we will see that how we can use this to bind to our recycler view itself. So we'll be closing these things, these files, and now we'll be opening our main fragment where we need to create our recycler view. Open the layout file. We'll be replacing this text view with recycler view. So the properties will be match parent, because we want it to cover the whole screen. Remove this text property and just provide it with the ID, let's say recycler view repositories. So now one more thing which is unrelated to this project but is actually very useful. Like I have told you that we can use this tools property. So similarly, these tools property is also available for recycler view. So if you want to actually see that how your final outcome will be, so what you can do is you can define even you can define your layout manager here, which you need to define programmatically. You can even define your layout manager here. So for that, what you can do is you can type layout manager. So it will show you the suggestion layout manager, and it will show you the 3 available layout manager. So we'll be using our linear layout manager because our items will be drawn from top to bottom. So we'll be using linear layout manager. Okay, so if in your case the items are needed to be drawn from left to right, the horizontal scroll, then you can provide the orientation property as horizontal, but in our case this will be vertical. Okay, so now the third thing is, if you want to view that how this final layout is gonna look like when our item layout is actually used. So to do that, you can use the tools property over here, like this tools. So you can see there are 3 available options. So we will be using the item count property, so to tell that we want to show 5 items. Okay, this is not a property like if you define 5 items, then after running your project you will only be getting 5 items. There is nothing like this. So this is just a property to get your to view something in while the time of development only. Okay, so this property will automatically get removed as soon as you build your project. Okay, not from the code itself, but from the final build running, it will not include this property. Okay, so this is just for a reference to view whatever you are drawing into your UI. Okay, so let's say I want to see that with 5 items how my layout should is looking. Okay, so now the second property is tools, so that will be list item. So here we will define the actual layout file that we have created like this. So when you will do this, you can actually see it over here. Okay, so you can see that there is no margin between 2 items. So this is actually useful like this scenario. So you can in real time you can see over here that your how your items will be looking when you run your final application. So before running your application you can do the required changes. So let's what we can do is let's add it a padding top or a padding of no not a padding. Let's give this a margin of 10 dps. Okay, and let's also add a padding on top of 5 dp. So now you can see over here that the margins are reflected over here. So this is the way your item will look if you define 1 over here. So it will show the layout with 1 item. If you define 2, it will show 2, 3, 4. But in our case the text is taking very much bigger area, so it is just showing us 2 items only. uh, to to view more items, what you can do is you can actually type your custom text over here like, hi, this is a general description. So now you can view, like I have defined 4 items, so it is showing 4 items. I can define 10 items, so it will show 10 items. Some are cutting down. If I increase the size, it will show more items. Okay, so this is the way this tools property works. So this is only used to get some you can see to actually see how your layout will be looking when you will be running your item over here, when you will be running your application over here. So this is a very useful property. Okay, so now we'll be using this recycler views id to actually bind it to the you can say adapter. So first we need to define our adapter over here. So let's do it. Well, so our recycler views adapter's name is repositories adapter. So let's give it a similar name, repositories adapter equal to repositories adapter and empty constructor. Yeah, we have initialized it over here. Now we need to provide it with this we need to provide our recycler view the adapter. So we'll use the dot adapter property and we'll be providing this repository adapter. Okay, we there is no need to define layout managers now because we have already defined the layout manager over here. Okay, so this is not of type tools, this in the namespace is actually app, so this layout manager will not be removed. Okay, so this we have already defined the layout manager over here and the type as vertical. Let me show you a type as horizontal. So it will draw a horizontal list. You can see the other items because the other items will be not visible because the items width will be width is actually match parent. Okay, so if you need to just change the type like horizontal or vertical, you can do it over here. So in our case it will be vertical. So now what we need to do is we need to provide this adapter with a list. So to do that, what we can do is, so we know that here we will get our list, so we'll use this adapter's name for reference, and it have a function named as submit list, so you can use that submit list function. Here you can see that it is demanding us a list of type GitHub data model item. Okay, so we know that this will return a list of type GitHub data model item, so we'll paste it, we'll copy this and paste it over here, so error will be gone, and we are good to go. We can directly run our application to see what's the output. So we'll also open the logcat to see that our API is failing or successfully running. So we haven't actually implemented any loader, but you can do that in your demos. So we can see that the API gets is running, and as soon as our data gets inflated, our application is crashed. To check the crash, we need to remove this OK HTTP filter, and we can see the crash over here. Oh, the crash is actually really simple to fix. Basically the crash is that we have used the material card view, but the theme of our application is not extending the material theme. So you can see it over here, the app theme, it is still using the app compat theme. So we'll have to, if we want to use any material component in our application, we'll have to change the theme from app compat to material. So theme dot material components dot light dot no action bar, yeah, we can use this theme, and we can rerun our application, and we can see that our API gets called and it gets output, and as soon as the output is, we can see the output in logcat, so the list is drawn over here. You can browse the items over here. Okay, so this is the name of repository along with the description, and here is a empty space because the description must be empty. Okay, so you can make a check in your adapter class that if it is empty, so it should the item should be not visible. Okay, so you can define the visibility as gone if the description is empty. Okay, so you can see that we have inflated our list over here. So you must have noticed that how easy it is to use this list adapter class. As our basically adapter, our list adapter. So we have reduced the number of steps that we need to do when we use our recycler-view.adapter. We even reduce the code to just this much. You can say our adapter code is just these 10 lines of code, starting from 10 to 20. So this is just a 10 line of code which we are using to create our list items. Okay, and here also there is no need to define the layout managers unless you don't need the layout manager. If you need that layout manager anywhere, like in the scenarios of pagination or anywhere, if you have some custom functionality, you can either use the instance of your recycler view to get the adapter, or you can define your adapter over here and programmatically assign it to your recycler views like this. You can basically use the layout manager property and you can define your own layout manager over here. But in our case we know that we don't need this layout manager, and we can define it directly in our layout class itself. Okay, so we can see that the items are missing some padding, so we can define this padding over here like padding to be 5 dps, and similarly we can define a padding to here, the description too, and the elevation to be reduced to 2 because 10 is not looking good. So margin should also be reduced to 5 actually. So let's rerun our application and see the output. Yeah, so you can see the output over here. So it is still not looking good, but our code is actually working. Okay, so you can use your own layouts, you can improve the applications as much as you can. In this video I have actually taught you that how you can implement hilt in your applications, how you can use some basic coding pattern like I have used here. Like I have created a different repository class to actually call our data, and I have created a use case class to actually to get the result from that data and do some modification over that. Like here I have created some checks and created a result data class, use this result data class to actually put the data and managing the state of the data. And also we have injected everything using the hilt dependency. So also we have seen that how efficiently we can use the recycler views and the create a list adapters using this list adapter class. And we have seen that what diff utils are and how they impact our performance. So now one more thing, if you if there is a scenario that you need to hit this API again, so let's say if you have a swipeable refresh layout, swipe refresh layout is very common. So when a user swipes it gets the new data from server and refreshes the recycler view. So in that case, whenever a user swipes, so you can again call this API, you can wait for the result, and as soon as the result is available, you'll have to do this same step. You can call the submit list and you can pass the list over here. And what this will do is this will invoke our diffutil class that we have created over here, and it will check all the items and compare them. If the items are changed, then only it will redraw that particular item, otherwise it will not touch any of the item. Okay, so this is the way our diffutil will work. So yeah, our video series is now completed. So I will also add the final project link to the description of these videos. Every video's description will have this project's link, so you can go and check out that project. And also one more thing, if you want to enable dark theme, what you can do is you can just go to your application theme. You can start typing over here, like we have used the light theme, so you can use the day night theme. Okay, so material components dot day night dot no action bar. So this will automatically change the theme based on the device theme. So currently the device theme is light theme, so it will show the application as with the light UI. So let's see over here, light UI. Okay, so if you changed your application your device theme to dark theme, so like this. Okay, so now when you'll again launch your application, so it will automatically change the theme to dark theme. Okay, so again when you change your theme to light theme, so you'll open your application and it will automatically change the theme to light theme. So this is the way you can implement dark themes in your application. But you can define your own colors also, that you want rather than this gray color, you want blue color over here when it is in light theme, and pure white color when it is in dark theme. So you can define your custom properties. To do that, you can see one of my other videos from my YouTube channel. So the dark theme implementation is already a part of that video, so you can go and check that video. So we have successfully completed our video course of this hilt dependency injection. So sorry for any typos, and sorry for if I have done anything wrong in this because I am also doing this live when I am recording this video. So I haven't done any cuts. I haven't been I will not be editing this video. I not be cutting this video for anything I have done wrong or anything. So this is a raw video. I'll be uploading this video directly. So there can be a number of times that I have spoken wrong words or anything, so just ignore them, because this is a raw video without any editings and cuts and not even retakes. So we'll be I'll be doing some more videos like this only, where I'll be implementing things the time while I'll be teaching you using these videos. So I'll be live coding and I'll be creating some more demos. So stay tuned to the channel, and also I'll be creating a number of more videos to actually use the latest components provided by the Jetpack and Android X packages. So some of my videos are already up, like you can go and check the new ways to implement runtime permissions and gallery pickers, etc. So more videos are in line and I'll be finishing them as soon as possible. So stay tuned and subscribe to the channel. Also share these videos if you like. You can connect with me using the links in the description of the video. So you can connect with me over Twitter, LinkedIn, or anywhere. If you have any questions or if you have any suggestions for me for my videos, if you have any doubts, you can directly contact me and I'll try to reply all of you. So take care, stay tuned and be safe. So see you in next videos. Bye bye.